Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at Summit Haven. I've had a few requests for a Summit Haven list, so I thought why not, we'll do it. I just needed to have the time to do it. I've been working on a project which hopefully most of you would have seen by now. If you haven't, head over to the Shadowverse website and it should be there. Not on the website, sorry, on their YouTube channel, which it's always in the link in the description below. You can always head over there. Anyway, this deck, it's pretty okay. I mean, it's definitely not the craziest thing. I feel like it would work much better in tournaments than it does on ladder. And really, overall, it's just a little clunky, at least in my opinion. So we'll get right into it and take a look at some games. So the first game we've got here is against Sword. Sword is one of those classes that can be extremely aggressive. I mean, this class isn't too bad for dealing with it, but you know, if Sword gets a perfect curve, it can be quite hard to beat. They also have beautiful, beautiful Starforged Legend Grandmaster sleeves, which I so wish I had have got. But we do get double Summit Temple, so at least we do have an initial play. Summit Temple into Princess Snow White is actually pretty reasonable. A Happy Pig actually fills out even nicer for next turn. It means we do get to play the Summit Temple for extra draw while also being able to throw out a Happy Pig on 2. Pretty solid. I mean, can't go wrong with a good Snow White. 2 damage, remove their board, and set up pretty nicely for next turn. Ruining my day though, that 3-2 hitting my Snow White. I wish that Summit Temple was functional all the time, meaning even if I was attacked it would activate. That would be so much better. But the Tribunal works out pretty nicely for picking this off and allowing me to go for another 2 damage to their face, so continual damage working in my favour quite nicely. Frontline Cavalier though, kind of ruining my tempo, definitely storming the board hard and making sure they heal back up just as well. I don't really have much of a follow-up turn here. I mean, Happy Pig is the only card I can actually play functionally, so it's going to have to be the card that we drop. But on the other side, at least it means it does heal 3 when it's destroyed, so if they do decide to deal any damage to me and happen to kill this Happy Pig, at least it will get some advantage. Although it does look like they are going to do it in the right order and at least kill this Happy Pig first. And then take 7 to my face. Harsh one. So we're definitely playing from an unfavourable position, but that Priest of the Cudgel off the top, absolutely ideal for removing this board. Especially when you have a Tribunal set up, making any kind of big play next turn a little awkward. You don't want to put too much into the board next turn, only to lose your biggest threat. But that Geno is quite nice. It is going to clear this and set up a couple of smaller drops which you don't mind losing to that Tribunal. So really from here we just need to be able to pressure them with these Heavily Knights to face and hope to God that they don't manage to lethal us before then. So a pretty easy 7 damage. Not really an issue at all in this match so far. There, being able to throw those 7 damage with the giant ward makes it really hard for Sword usually to clear. But they are running more Bane lately, so we do get to see that Lancer, which is actually a Cathugel, I can't remember what they're called, I forget their name pretty badly, but the enhanced Bane card. It can be a little bit of a nuisance. At least now we can pretty much deal with it easily. I mean, they're on 4 health. All we really need is to be able to drop something else. Anything else that's half decent, and we actually have a reasonable setup. We do get a nice trade-off though, being able to deal with that pretty effectively, while also holding on to their evolves for next turn. I do decide I have to set up whatever I can. I know I've got another Heavenly Knight in this deck, so it does get to come out here. Which is good. I mean, it blocks out their potential lethal with Albert, so that works out nicely. But it doesn't quite block out that Barbaros, which is going to kill that Heavenly Knight very, very quickly. And a Geno to follow that up too. really couldn't have got a better double card setup. They do evolve as Heavenly Knight. Initially I thought, hey, they're going to trade into the 1-3, they're going to remove that so I can't get lethal. But this sword player, obviously not realizing what Summit Temple does, actually sets himself up for death. If he hadn't have done that, this match would have been very, very different. I mean, the Grimnir would have been okay, but I feel like I still probably would have died to Albert in the following turn, so quite lucky that he didn't realize. And our next game here is against Rune. So Rune, not too surprising, you know what to expect. Going into most likely a Daria or a neutral Rune matchup these days. Burn Rune is a fair bit less uncommon, but still a possibility, so as long as you keep an eye out on their first few plays, you can usually discern which of the 3 decks they're playing and cater your playstyle for that. In this case, this deck really only has one line of play, and that's basically to remove and deal damage consistently, while using your storm damage as massive pressure or massive defense, one of those 2 options. With your closer being that Eiger.
Maybe, just maybe, this magic will help.
So Craig, yeah, that's pretty okay. Happy Pig. Works pretty well. Gemstone Carapace, getting its job done. Just a little ping there.
Are you happy?
Of course we have to take damage. Killing that, I mean, we just got to get rid of it at this point. H and Y, not the best card to do that, but at least it works.
Done for.
I mean, it does remove it fairly reasonably. But, you know, I'll take an owl any day of the week.
No!
Atone with your lifeblood.
Stop!
And a couple of Blade Mages. Not looking good for them. I mean, the Priest of the Cudgel is going to be pretty harsh here. Especially when we draw Black and Scripture off the top.
Now.
The real battle begins.
I see your weakness.
Means I do get 4 damage to their face on top of this, which works out really quite well. Considering we don't have Summit out yet, it means this Cudgel also being a 4 damage, even though it's got 3 health, is actually pretty reasonable.
What in the...
Chain Lightning though, making things a little more awkward.
This song's for you.
I feel Hearted Singer finally getting the drop on the board. So from here, should be reasonably smooth. We should be able to hit their face pretty consistently. Of course, Daria. Not too surprising. I mean, it was bound to drop at some point. At least we've seen most of their Blade Mages and stuff already come out, so we know that's not going to be a huge threat. And our Tribunal actually can pick, hopefully, off Daria or an Ogla pretty easily, so that's no concern either. Doesn't look like they got any Oglas though, so huge plus on that end. It would have been a little bit awkward to deal with. But at least this way is pretty favourable overall. Do decide to set up the globe anyway. I mean, if they kill the 1-2, it's going to give me a draw, and then I can just play whatever I want. If they get the couple of turns out, and I end up getting the stair thing to go off, the globe, sorry, to go off, I should be able to get my extra draw anyway. And a board space, so really I'm not at a huge disadvantage no matter what they do here. And double Chimera, meaning they can't actually use those for decent clear. Works out really well considering I drew into Heavenly Knight, which basically locks them down here. And then we get to deal with this 2-2. It's going to force both the Chimeras to trade unless they have another spell that they can use here to remove this, which works out really, really well in my favour. Of course, Mutagenic Bolt though kind of ruins that play, but at least they do use one of these 4 4/4s to trade, so I don't need to worry about taking too much damage this turn. I'm guessing because they wanted to avoid dying to another Heavenly Knight if they did leave that rat up. Off the top, Grimnir's. Grimnir's great, removing stuff. And in this case, removing Daria's board, Grimnir is a perfect card. And finally, you see another Mutagenic Bolt. So these Mutagenic Bolt Darias are becoming more and more popular. Kind of sad, because Mutagenic is kind of annoying. But at least now we have a chance to get the Aegis out, which basically secures this game. They don't normally run healing, their only chance would be to ward. If they do ward, they've still got to remove my board and deal with the Tribunal. Because you can't leave something up here and ward with a Daria deck. At least not effectively. But we do get to see another Daria, so maybe they're going to go for it. Insight, okay. Straight off.
Okay, sure.
And no answer to the Aegis. Worked out quite well. So you guys asked for it and I bought it too, the Summit Haven list. It does pretty well. I mean, it's very, very legendary heavy and you can't really swap anything out. You may barely get away with swapping out the Beacon of Salvation for a Dark. They may get away with that, but even then that's awkward because this being played on 3 is still okay. It's still reasonable. And the heal bonus is great instead of dealing damage, honestly. So this deck is great fun. I mean, I had some fun playing it. While I didn't find too much success on ladder, it was still reasonable enough. If you're going to make this deck, I would recommend against it and maybe try building something else. Something that is going to probably be better longer term, because I don't know how this deck is going to go with the next set rotating and the future changes that are coming up. Overall, I would probably aim for something in either Dragon or... I don't want to say Rune, because Rune's probably going to see some form of change, but maybe stick to something in Dragon, maybe Shadow. Portal is going to be coming up hopefully with the next expansion. That should be really interesting, so if you don't have a couple of those legendaries, I'd probably recommend that over this. Especially since I find Portal more enjoyable out of all the classes so far. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe. As always, you will find the deck list in the description below, and I will catch you guys next time. See ya.